Welcome to Once Upon a Coin, documenting the ongoing history of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And as always, I'm your storyteller, Jason Cassidy. Cryptocurrency is no stranger to controversies and feuds, having produced some of the most entertaining and intense moments the world has ever witnessed. This often comes in the form of prominent figures within the industry with competing projects who eventually butt heads. And given how tribal of a realm crypto is, the rivalries that form here usually end up grabbing headlines. It's a tale as old as time itself, mixing game-changing technology in with some high-powered people, and then adding in a few trillion US dollars that are up for grabs. You are eventually going to get fireworks. And that's exactly what we're about to look at. So with that said, let the games begin. This is the story of crypto rivalries.
Sun cast a shadow, a digital line is coming over the mountain and over your mind. Double down your Bitcoin, hang on for the ride. We're moving into the future, one block at a time. We're moving into the future, one block at a time.
There have been a lot of feuds over the years in crypto, and to cover them all would mean that we would be here for a very long time. So, in the interest of brevity, we are going to take a look at some of the most noteworthy and impactful beefs that have taken place in the cryptosphere. One of the first real moments of contention arose back in 2011 when the advent of the altcoin took place. On April 18th, 2011, Namecoin debuted on the Bitcoin Talk forum, becoming the first recognized altcoin in history. Later in the year, Litecoin followed soon and also hit the scene. And soon, there were a handful of new coins competing in the industry alongside Bitcoin. This was generally viewed as a good thing, as now people had an alternative when it came to investing into cryptocurrencies. But not everyone was happy with all these new coins coming out. Crypto started as Bitcoin, and it was working spectacularly. There was nothing wrong with it. So then, why the need to create coins that don't fundamentally change the landscape or improve upon Bitcoin in a meaningful way? This is when we began to see Bitcoin purists stand up and denounce altcoins, while others were very much opposed to it always being just Bitcoin and were happy to encourage more innovation through new coin projects. This is the genesis of Bitcoin maximalism. So while this early tension wasn't isolated to just a couple people or projects, it did plant the seeds for what would become a much bigger narrative in the future. A future where Bitcoin would maintain its role as king of blockchain, finding itself competing against tens of thousands of coins and tokens, all trying to eat away at its sizable market cap. When I got involved in crypto in 2012, Bitcoin was the rabbit hole that I ventured down. By 2013 though, I was ready to explore beyond Bitcoin, and I discovered an entire new area of the industry in the altcoin movement. This was a movement that I embraced, trying my hand at Namecoin, Litecoin, Purecoin, Ripple, and a lot more. I enjoyed the ability to investigate beyond what Bitcoin could offer. And I recall that not everyone felt that way. There are a lot of people who will not touch altcoins, even back then. Bitcoin is where it is today in part due to the fervent loyalty it commands, and I can attest to the power of that, even all the way back in 2013. By 2014, it was time for the world to get its taste of a real competitor to Bitcoin when Ethereum was announced. It would take another year and a half until the network was up and running, but once it was, it would set a course that would lead it to the very top of the crypto mountain. Vitalik Buterin is the best known person when it comes to Ethereum, but he's actually not the only founder. There's quite a few. And while not a lot is known about them all, each one does have an interesting past, and if you can believe it, some spicy feuds have taken place just between this core group of visionaries. Case in point, Charles Hoskinson, who was with the group in 2013 when it all began, but he didn't last too long. Only a few months in fact before he departed. The rumor behind this was that Hoskinson wanted Ethereum to be a for-profit company, while Buterin wanted Ethereum to be a non-profit platform. Some say that Hoskinson left, while others say that Buterin fired him. This spat would have historic ramifications, as Hoskinson would go on to create Cardano in 2015, and would see it gain the nickname of ETH Killer due to it becoming a direct competitor. These two haven't exactly kissed and made up over the years either, so there's really no telling where this rivalry could go in the future. Gavin Wood joined the group in 2014, taking on the role of CTO at the Ethereum Foundation, instantly becoming one of the most important developers the network had. He created the first testnet on Ethereum along with a slew of other important contributions. But just 2 short years later in 2016, he was out. Like Hoskinson, he took his ambitions elsewhere and created Polkadot, which today is a top blockchain project. Wood has been known to take a shot or two at Vitalik and Ethereum when given the chance, so who knows how much bad blood still exists here. There is a lot more drama out there when it comes to Ethereum co-founders, but we gotta keep this train moving along. If you're curious about it though, there are some recent signs of fresh rivalries starting up over on Ethereum. Just saying. While Ethereum has had its fair shares of ups and downs, it pales in comparison to the popcorn-worthy theatrics that have come from Bitcoin. More specifically, the Bitcoin Civil War. Now, if you're not familiar with the Bitcoin Civil War, then I can sum it up for you by saying that there are 3 versions of Bitcoin: BTC Bitcoin, BCH Bitcoin Cash, and BSV Bitcoin SV, that are all competing for recognition as the official, one and only, version of Bitcoin. Yeah, it's a complex and ugly situation at times, but the point here is that there's so much at stake at this war that this has naturally produced some very heated and nasty moments. One of the leading figures in the entire cryptocurrency sector is Bitcoin Jesus himself, Roger Ver. His knowledge about the industry is only exceeded by his passion for decentralization in crypto, specifically Bitcoin. Being such a central figure in the industry was always going to lead to some friction eventually, and Roger has certainly experienced some. This can be seen when he came toe-to-toe with outspoken Bitcoin developer Jimmy Song. In 2018, the duo was set to debate the merits of Bitcoin BTC versus Bitcoin Cash, the version of Bitcoin that Roger was supporting. As you can see, this topic is so controversial that even agreeing on simple things like the terms of the debate itself can easily spiral out of control.
I want this to be a high-level debate, but there's only one mic, so there's no interruptions or anything like that. Okay. Hey, can you not interrupt, please? Sit down, please. Sit down, please. Do you want to debate me or not? Okay, then sit down. If you don't want to debate me, you can get off the stage. If you don't want to...
Roger, here's another microphone.
Alright, then I am refusing to do the debate if there's 2 mics.
The Bitcoin Civil War has created many iconic moments in crypto's storied history. One of those moments that enjoys a lot of replay value is the spat between Craig Wright, the self-proclaimed creator of Bitcoin, aka Satoshi Nakamoto, and Vitalik Buterin that took place at the Economy Conference in 2018. The people on stage at the time weren't even part of the action here either, if you can believe it. After giving a presentation on Bitcoin in which he heavily criticized the Lightning Network, Bitcoin BTC's Layer 2 solution, Wright took a seat as the host began to take questions and comments from the crowd. When the microphone was passed to Vitalik Buterin, the temperature in the room started to cook. Wright got an earful from Buterin, who claimed he was clueless when it came to scaling the Lightning Network, calling him an outright fraud. The two went back and forth until one of the Lightning Network's founders stood up and chimed in, claiming that even he did not understand Wright's presentation.
He claimed that in the context of selfish mining, gamma can be less than 0, which is an absolutely nonsensical claim that makes no sense because gamma is the percentage of the network that is colluding with the miner, which by definition is between 0 and 1. So given that he makes so many non-sequiturs of mistakes, why is this fraud allowed to speak at this conference?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
It's very simple. Negative probability means you pay the other people. Instead of the selfish miner earning a benefit, the honest miner does. That's what
I wrote the Lightning Network paper. I straight up don't understand your presentation. I'm sure the rest of the audience does not as well.
Wright didn't take too kindly to this, eventually taking legal action by suing Buterin for libel in a UK court. The case has since been dropped, but you can guarantee that neither have forgotten about it. This is just one of numerous examples of the top figures behind the Bitcoin Civil War coming under attack. Whether it's Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre with BSV, Roger Ver with BCH, or Adam Back and Michael Saylor with BTC, in Bitcoin, no one gets out alive.
Another billionaire, Michael Saylor. I think Craig called him the biggest loser in history on my podcast. What's your take?
He is actually. So objectively, if you go back to the .com crash, MicroStrategy was a big .com company, made a ton of money very quickly. And they're in like the data intelligence industry. And when the .com bubble burst, everybody took a big hit, obviously, but MicroStrategy was the single losing most company.
And it's not just the top brass either, as committee members from each camp have become notorious for their relentless attacks against each other. One of the longest standing feuds in all of crypto is Bitcoin versus Ethereum. They are the number 1 and 2 blockchain networks in the world as of this recording, and those are positions that they've held for a very long time now. So it shouldn't shock you to discover that two people that we've already mentioned here for being outspoken, Jimmy Song and Vitalik Buterin, pop up again. They've gone at it countless times over the years, criticizing each other's work and questioning the validity of the networks they support. This back and forth is pretty much the status quo in crypto, in case you were wondering, as neither side is ever going to admit that the other is better. Another rivalry in crypto that is alive and well is the one that exists between Ripple and Stellar. This one speaks for itself once we look into its history a bit. Ripple launched in June of 2012, and Jed McHale was one of the co-founders, having previously sold the Mt. Gox exchange to Mark Karpelès 1 year prior. By 2013 though, McHale would leave the Ripple project and would go on to create the Stellar network 1 year later in 2014. The similarities between Ripple and Stellar are too hard to ignore, with them having the same founder and in many instances the same focus on use cases. This has created a scenario where both are competing to be the dominant cross-border payments network within crypto. Fast forward to 2024 and both networks find themselves near the top of the crypto rankings, trying to get banks to work with them while looking to outdo each other whenever and wherever they can. A more recent example of a blockchain feud heating up is the one between CZ or Changpeng Zhao and SBF or Sam Bankman-Fried, two names that will forever go down in crypto lore. The men behind the two biggest crypto exchanges in the world at the time had a very mixed relationship, sometimes acting as allies and other times turning on each other when the opportunity presented itself. By the winter of 2022, FTX had completely fallen apart and there was now blood in the streets. Emotions were running high and no one was holding back, including CZ, who called out SBF as being a fraudster, which probably didn't help relations between the two. SBF responded by calling CZ a liar, which stemmed from a failed buyout offer of FTX by Binance, who backed out of the deal at the last minute. And of course, we couldn't end this episode without at least mentioning what could possibly be the biggest feud that's forming in Web3 right now. I'm talking about the social media giants of Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Between Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, they pretty much have the attention of the entire planet. They've sparred occasionally in the past, but it wasn't until crypto got involved that both men decided to turn up the heat. Zuckerberg attempted to create a stablecoin with Libra, which got shut down by regulators. He then went ahead and renamed his company to just Meta, an ode to the burgeoning metaverse scene which is being propelled by blockchain technology. With Musk, he's had an open love affair with Doge for years now. Plus, there's been whispers of X eventually adopting a crypto payments technology given his affiliation with the industry. So, both men are very bullish on crypto, that is for sure. This public jockeying for position within the cryptosphere eventually boiled over into a challenge between the two men, to a cage fight. This took place in early 2023, but by year's end, any talk of a real cage fight between two of the richest men on Earth had now faded into the realm of highly unlikely. That's why it came as a surprise to some when, in 2024, Musk reignited the flames a bit when he said that he was still game to throw down with Zuck. So maybe we do get the pay-per-view worthy slugfest we're all hoping for in the end. And that about sums it up, ladies and gentlemen. So now you know that if you really want to see the fur fly, all you have to do is plug yourself directly into the cryptosphere. Because while this isn't exactly the Roman games at the Colosseum, the fights that have gone down in crypto may just get Dana White of the UFC to start paying closer attention. I hope you enjoyed today's stroll down memory lane. Until next time, have fun and enjoy life, my friends. I'll be back soon with another incredible story to tell you.